Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. So as you guys already can see from the title and the thumbnail in this video, we are going to gift Erin a brand new car for her so that we can get her on the track, and she's gonna turn it hopefully into a sports car and she's gonna love it. We're gonna reveal it to her, and ultimately she's just gonna have a lot of fun and experience with it. Now, the reason why I said she is going to kill me is because she has always said I am not gonna have a Mazda Miata for my first sports car. And unfortunately, honey, it's just what needs to happen. We all started on little, low horsepower, lightweight, sporty type cars when we all get into the sport, and I just think that's where you need to start. She wants like a 9,000 horsepower car that can go faster than a Formula One car. And I just don't think it's in the cards for her to start out with something so big and powerful. I mean, even my car, she complains that it's a very heavy car, and it is. The thing's over 4,000 pounds with Erin and I in it. And when it's pushing over almost 600 horsepower to the wheels, I just don't feel comfortable with her having something like that to be as a first car. And I think she needs something, again, where we all started. And I don't think there's a person on the internet that's gonna disagree with me who's a car person that you should be starting out on something like a Mazda Miata. This particular one happens to be a touring sport, I believe, a 2006. So they only have like 160, 170 horsepower or something. They're front engine, rear wheel drive, so she can get that experience with kind of like drifting and either understeer or oversteer. It weighs absolutely nothing. It's like a freaking go-kart. You can see the apexes and where you're going. It thing is just so lightweight and nimble. I just really think that that's where everyone needs to start out at, and I think it's just gonna be a perfect car for her. But again, as mentioned, she is going to kill me. Not to mention, she has said multiple times, I do not want to drive a stick shift. This one happens to be a 6-speed manual. But again, it's kind of like we need to start out from scratch from day one, getting our driver's license as like at 15 and a half years old. And I think she just needs to drive it every day to work. My goal and plan is to probably take her to like autocrossing events once she gets very used to it with driving it out on the street. So then that way the autocross, she can start to not worry about the shifting anymore. She can start to worry about actually hitting the apexes and going through corners, etc. And then we can start doing like mid-Ohio days where she can go to like the classes or start into the novice group and then the intermediate and then all the way up to the advanced. And yeah, I just can't wait. Again, I'm excited. I'm gonna be nervous to see her reaction. I know when we get home, she's gonna freaking kill me. But again, as a daily driver for her to get experience, and she already does have experience. I don't think she's ever actually owned a stick shift car herself, but she can drive stick shift. And when I first met her, she was riding a Gixxer 600. So she already knows how to shift and everything. It just may be a little bit different to go from a motorcycle where you're doing everything with your hands to now doing the opposite with your feet. So we're gonna wait for her to get home. We've got it stored at my buddy's house. Hopefully I can get into the garage, set up the camera for you guys, and then when she comes on out, we'll get her reaction as I hand her the keys. Hopefully on camera or in front of my buddy Rob, she's not gonna kill me, but we'll see what happens when we get home, or she will be genuinely excited and happy to have her own sports car that we can work on together. I am gonna make her work on this car herself. So if you guys tune in, subscribe, like, etc., that car will be on this lift. I will make her pull wheels and tires off. We're gonna have to do a complete overhaul of the car. I'll tell you a little bit about more later, like the mileage and all that stuff, but we'll do a full overhaul on like fluids and spark plugs and all that stuff, and I'm gonna make her do it. I will be there with her, getting maybe stuck bolts if she needs help, but we are gonna do that, and she is gonna learn how to do this stuff herself. If she starts out and like she wants to be the next Lewis Hamilton, well, we need to get her into a go-kart first. We need to teach her the fundamentals. We need to get her hands dirty so that she knows how to work on it, and then we'll upgrade later at a later time. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit at my buddy's Rob's house, and fingers crossed, she's excited. All right, she's down in the basement. I'm gonna go get her. Let's see what happens. You like it? Yeah. You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn today.
I'm gonna learn how to make it a hardtop.
You can learn how to make it a hardtop, yes.
You're so stupid.
You're gonna learn today.
You're so stupid.
Told you. Actually, if you don't want to learn with me, Rob suggests you learn with Natalie. You guys go out.
How much was this?
He gave it to me.
Okay, how much was it? How much was it?
They gave it to me.
It was free. I don't know if a hardtop's gonna work for me though. My head hits if I have a helmet on.
My feet are too. The only thing you can drive this in is racing shoes, because there's not enough room for a heel toe with a regular shoe on.
If I can heel to toe this with a foot twice your size, you can figure it out.
That's uncomfortable and dangerous.
You can figure it out. Yeah. Horsepower. It's rear wheel drive, no nannies. It's like IndyCar, exactly like IndyCar. No nannies. Rear wheel drive. It's not mid-engine though.
You son of a bitch.
She gonna learn today and tomorrow and the next day when she drives it to work. All right guys, back home up on the lift. So what the hell did we buy her? We got her a 2006 Mazda Miata MX-5 in a 6-speed manual. Don't know the name of it, but it's clearly a metallic blue. And like I believe I said, I think it's a touring sport. For 2006, it looks great. It has 31,000 miles on it. And the kid that I bought it off of, got it off of a guy who I guess only had it, drove it on the weekends. He only put 22,000 miles on it from 2006 to 2022. This guy's only owned it since last August, so exactly 1 year ago. And there's basically nothing wrong with it at all. Again, 2006 with only 30,000 miles. There is a little bit of like rubbage right here that can easily be buffed out. And I think Rob actually saw maybe one little dent that's even kind of hard to see. There's like a scuff mark like right here on this kind of like fender arch here, which that could be taken care of easily. But yeah, there's maybe a few scuffs, I would call them, not scratches, that could easily be buffed out. But it doesn't really matter, color doesn't really matter, because not only does Aaron always want to have a car with a livery on it, so we're gonna probably wrap it, but her and I, again, will probably want to learn how to do it, even though I did wrap my 370Z by myself. Wasn't perfect, but yeah, this is something that we can both learn on. But we definitely need some stuff going on here. We've got probably the biggest wheel arches in the world, and this thing has the most insane body roll of anything I've ever driven. I mean, it is literally like a boat as you whip the wheel back and forth. So no clue what the first mods are gonna be. Don't even know if there has to be first mods. Anyone out here who is a Miata owner, let me know for a beginner like autocross track driver, what should the first mods on this be? Me, I always kind of shoot for the suspension. Maybe brakes. I don't think brakes are needed for autocrossing because you don't get them up to temperature within like a 40-second run in a parking lot. Obviously, we don't need an intake and exhaust. We do not need to get power. But yeah, again, experienced Miata owners, let me know. Again, what do you think of first mod should be? I know what our first thing is gonna do. We're gonna flush everything out. At 22,000 miles, apparently, the guy that he bought it off of, he did pass away. The family actually inherited it. None of them could drive stick, so they sold it to this guy that I bought it off of. They told him they took it to the dealership and had everything freshly changed. Can't say that that's 100% true, but at least for like the braking system, we need to flush it anyway because we'll probably put in some racing brake fluid. Not that we really need that for autocross and on the street also, but I just feel better just put racing brake fluid in it and forget about it, call it a day. It doesn't cost that much for each bottle, and this thing probably only takes like 3 drops of oil anyway, so. We'll flush the brake fluid, probably do an oil change on it because I don't know if he's done it in the last 10,000 miles. We got the diff, we got the tranny, the brakes and the oil. And then just because of the year time frame and not really because of the mileage, I'll probably do a full radiator flush on it also. And we'll probably go ahead and install distilled water. So that way it is ready for the track and we don't have to worry about overheating, along with a little bit of a water wetter. And the reason why we do that is because some race organizations, when you actually do professionally race, they do not want you to have oil or coolant in a car. If it ends up in a crash and you put coolant all over the track, it is very slippery. But distilled water and a little bit of water wetter, obviously it dries like instantly on a 100-degree track. So that's what they want you to have. And since we're in a heated garage and we're not gonna be probably driving it in the wintertime, we don't have to worry about anything freezing or breaking. Now, we are gonna need some tires though, that's for sure. Again, maybe for autocross, you can go ahead and use these things, but that is like a pretty aggressive all-season tire. That ain't gonna hold up to really anything. These things are just gonna be squealing and getting greasy like crazy. No real traction in those. But we'll talk with Aaron, we'll get a game plan. We'll do like its first fluids and everything in here. I think he said maybe the spark plugs were done too, but we might as well go ahead and pull them and at least look at them. But we'll finish this video up here, replacing everything on it. And then again, you guys comment down below and see what you want the first mods to be. So I'm probably not expecting much down here. 31,000 miles, what the heck could really be wrong? Looks like nothing is rusted. I don't see any drips, so that'll be nice to park the Camaro under here. Or actually, it'll be vice versa. This will probably get driven around more than the Camaro. Got some light rusting, like on this little heat shield here, but that's just real thin paper metal. Yeah, never been in an accident. We'll go ahead and check all the ball joints and everything. I think it does need an alignment though. I doubt in 30,000 miles and 17 years this thing's ever had an alignment. You're pulling a little bit to the right, or you're having to pull right so that you don't fall left. But yeah, for a summer driven only car in 17 years, it looks freaking great down here. Well, there's your problem. This sway bar is smaller than my pinky. No wonder we've got body roll. At least the front's a little thicker, about the size of my thumb, but holy crap. Oh, and that's interesting. They take the dust shield and they bend the crap out of it so that you probably get some airflow in there to cool the front brakes off. I thought it was bent, but it's perfectly even on each side. So they must do that to try and capture some air, again, for like cooling those guys off. Real quick tonight though, while Aaron's sleeping, there's some few questions that I don't have answered and I can't find the answers online when people are giving out wrong info. I do not know if this thing has a limited slip differential in the rear, which is greatly gonna help improve our track times and everything. So I wanna jack this rear end up and see if we actually have a limited slip. And then I am curious to make sure that I got the right offset and width of these tires. I wanna pull these off. So if we do upgrade wheels and tires, we can get something a little wider, but I don't wanna get something like crazy heavy, because the whole point of a Miata is to stay super lightweight. So I wanna get that info off of these and then we'll also weigh them. So let's chuck these front wheels since this is rear wheel drive only. And if we jack the rear of this car up, this thing 100% could fall off the lift. And you don't really want that. But we should be able to jack up on the rear differential so that we get each side up evenly. And then all we have to do is spin the tires. And if both tires spin in the same direction, we have a limited slip. If this tire spins in the forward direction and this one spins in the reverse direction, we do not have a limited slip, and that's gonna kind of suck. We might have to unbolt this guy and upgrade to a limited slip differential at a later time, or possibly rebuild this and put in a limited slip differential. All right, survey says the rear brake is on. Also chuck the back tires now since the parking brake is off. When we lower this thing down, we also don't want it falling off the lift. So survey says we have an open differential. Usually, if you spin it forward, this tire spins rear. I don't know what that means. Something with the ring and pinion in the rear sets that up somehow that they are kind of connected, but they're not really. But I'm 99% sure that is 100% just an open diff, as opposed to what I said before, where if you spin one, this one will spin in the rear, or if you have a true LSD, they'll both spin forward. So essentially there's 3 different types of differentials, but we have the, technically speaking, the worst one. But I don't know, maybe I need to research that a little bit more and figure that out. But let's get the car down a little bit. Let's see how much these wheels and tires weigh. And we can look up these tires online to see what they weigh, and that will give us the wheel weight, or we'll check those wheels, because I think they're just called 10 spokes online, and we'll be able to verify if the weight is true. And then we'll see what we can do as an upgrade if we do get something bigger and wider. Now, maybe you guys will find this funny. The drip trays that came with this lift, I thought they were attic ventilation trays. I took a whole bunch of stuff back to Home Depot. I returned my drip trays thinking they were attic ventilation ducts, and now Home Depot probably has these 2 drip trays that they don't know what the hell they go to. It's been like a week. I don't think they're gonna have them saved, but if I go back there and look on the shelf, maybe they're back there and I can get them returned to myself. Oh my God, everything is so tiny. Those are the tiniest lugs ever. Rotors look good. Brake pads, not the greatest, probably under 1/4 of an inch. So before a track day or an autocross day, that may be something we definitely need to upgrade, along with bleeding the whole system out. Oh my God, look how just tiny this stuff is. It's just like paper thin. Oh, I can compress these with my hand. All right, these actually do feel like they weigh kind of a lot. It's probably this all-season tire that looks brand new, because there's like no wear on this thing at all. But I do like the look of these wheels. They're not bad. All right, 160.4 for me, 201.8 for this. So we got a total on these wheels and tires of 41.4 pounds. That is kind of heavy. Now, if Aaron and I are gonna be serious about tracking this car or getting her up to speed, definitely probably gonna go with what everyone goes with, because it is just the lightest and one of the cheapest wheels out there, and that's probably the Anki RPF1. They only weigh like 14 pounds, I think, in this size, but they do make 3 different like offsets, and I think they go from whatever this is, like maybe 7 inches wide. Yeah, 7 inches wide, 17 inches with a 55 offset. I think Anki makes a 7, 7.5, and maybe an 8, and each one of them has a different offset to kick these things out a little bit. So we need to get this thing back on the ground, see how much offset we can kick out, because with these fender arches being so wide, we should be able to put a wider wheel on there, and it's not gonna stick out past the car. But I can almost guarantee you these things weigh more than 14 or 15 pounds that the RPF1s are. So that's definitely gonna be an upgrade in our future. Sorry, jumping in here real quick, because I feel offset needs a little bit more explaining, because people are always asking online. First off, if you're gonna change the offset of your wheels, be familiar with websites like this and get an offset calculator. Put in your factory specs as you would see right here. This is a 7-inch wide wheel with a 55 offset. And if we're going to that RPF1, the new size will be 7.5 inches wide with a 48 offset. So as you can see here, we're gonna gain 1 more inner clearance in here, so that our wheel and tire is not gonna hit like our shock or our spring assembly or anything. And you can see it's basically like we just put on a 13mm spacer to kick these things out 13mm. And the way they figure out offset, the reason why this guy is a 55 is just for easier math. If this was an 8-inch wheel and the offset was 0, then that means the back side of the wheel that bolts to the hub would be directly in the middle or at 4 inches. So 8 inches wide wheel, 0 offset, it would be directly in the middle. Well, as you can see here with a 7-inch wheel, this thing has a 55 offset. That means that this thing is 55mm more further out than the inside of the wheel. On the flip side, if you have a negative offset, these things are gonna be so far inward that the wheel is gonna end up having a really, really big deep dish. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any deep dish wheels, but an example of a more aggressive offset, you can see that if the outside of this wheel is right here, you can see just how pushed in the back side of this hub will be. Not to mention the thickness of this hub is probably like that big. So this thing is dished in more for the spokes, and the hub is really set far back. So a wheel like that is gonna have a much more aggressive offset, which technically speaking will push the wheel out further the lower in numbers that you get. But on this car here, we have not a whole lot of room with where you see the fender is and where you see the wheel is. So we can't go crazy offset, or this thing's just gonna push out so far, and we do not want it sticking out past the fender wells. But speaking of tires, these do look like they're pretty good. They're Bridgestones. They look like they're all seasons. Looks like it's called a drive guard, and they're relatively new. So whenever you buy a used car, or if you're gonna buy used tires off of somebody, always look for this 4-digit code right here. Anytime you see this oval box right here and you see these 4-digit numbers, what that means, this tire was produced on week 33 of 1 year, and that year was 2020. So with 52 weeks out of a year, this was manufactured pretty much right in the heart of COVID. But yeah, week 33 of 2020, so these tires are less than like 5 years old, or I think Tire Rack recommends every 6 years. So we still got some years out of these tires that we can use them for daily driving, and we'll pick something else up with those RPF ones. All right guys, this video is getting a little long in the editing, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna order all of the fluids tonight. We will go ahead and get everything replaced on the next video, and then that way in the next video, I'll let you guys know what the first mod's gonna be, because you guys are already gonna comment down below on what mods you wanna see for the first things done to this car. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Aaron, again, I hope you enjoy. We're gonna have a lot of fun, or you're gonna have a lot of fun in your car, and hopefully we're both gonna learn together on modding this thing together with each other, and we're gonna be looking forward to a lot of future fun track days together. So until next time, again, comment down below, let me know what you guys think, let me know what you guys wanna see, and we'll both see you guys later. Take care.